I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to our ongoing Operation Freedom Health and Wellness series with one of the top naturopathic physicians, not just in our country, but the world, Dr. Peter Glidden. This is a series that myself, Dr. Dave Janda, an allopathic doc, an MD, and a naturopathic doc, Dr. Peter Glidden, have been doing for the past 5 years, much to the chagrin of the medical industrial complex, because the goal of our presentations are to empower you with information that you can immediately implement to stay out of the doctor's office, stay out of the hospital, stay out of the pharmacies, which is why they despise what we do and how we do it. For those of you not familiar with Dr. Glidden, in addition to being one of the top naturopathic physicians in our country, he's also a great researcher, and he's a fantastic author as well. His books, Everybody is Sick and I Know Why, and Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicines, are truly classics and should be the foundation of your medical library. They are of the Janda families as well. Incredible information to put you far ahead of the medical curve, if you will. Dr. Glidden is the founder of a number of organizations, but his websites are fantastic. His latest, leavebigpharmabehind.com, where he's compiled all the information from his other websites, including drglidden.com. And that's your stopping point, leavebigpharmabehind.com. Now, full disclosure, the information, further information on the topic we're going to discuss today, and the products we discuss are all available at operationfreedomhealth.com. In addition, there's a free video there that Dr. Glidden did, right in the upper right-hand corner, to top of the homepage there at operationfreedomhealth.com, the 12 bad foods. Boy, this is like mandatory watching, especially with the holiday season coming up, because today's topic is actually going to be the holidays and your blood sugar levels. It's my honor to welcome back the great Dr. Peter Glidden. Pete, welcome back.
Dave Janda, it's always a pleasure. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, and happy holidays, and Happy
may
New
God
Year.
Bless us, everyone.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I see a little Santa Claus there.
Yeah, Santa Claus and Christmas tree.
Yeah, very nice.
And when you push them, check this out. Oh. I don't know what he needs. Wait a minute, maybe here. Yeah, good old Santa.
Santa.
The
He's
Christmas
man.
tree gets a bit crazy too. I don't want to hit that right now, but so let's hit Santa. Santa wants everybody eating a lot of sugar. Santa's okay. I mean, he does.
Santa does.
So let's talk about the holidays and your blood sugar level.
Well, all right. Let's talk about, misconceptions in the wonderful world that we live in. A lot of misconceptions about everything having to do with nutrition. A lot of misconceptions about sugar. Sugar is not the Antichrist. Sugar is the preferred fuel of the human body. The human body has like 5 different ways to get sugar into the blood. However, and your DNA is made from sugar, which is really interesting. Most people are completely unaware of that. So sugar is not the Antichrist. The problem with sugar is how much are you consuming? And does your body have the metabolic efficient ability to metabolize it? Kind of like you might have a full gasoline tank, but if the fuel line is clogged, you're going to step on the gas and the car's going to sputter and not go as fast as you want it to because the fuel line is clogged, right?
Right.
Gas can't get into the engine fast enough. So we have to be metabolically healthy in order for our system to use the sugar that finds its way into the blood, which is not a bad thing. So the best way to do that is to provide the body with minerals, especially chromium, and omega-3 essential fats. Because here's what happens, and God only knows because he set this up, but this has always been like a magical thing to me how this all works. So we eat something that's got sugar in it, or the body breaks the sugar apart from it like in a carbohydrate. Now there's sugar in the blood. When there's sugar in the blood, somehow the pancreas is stimulated to release insulin.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got lots of insulin flooding the blood. And you think about this. I mean, there are billions of cells in the body. And, you know, people bandy about this term millions and billions and trillions and have no idea what the hell they're talking about. It's a freaking huge number.
It
right?
is. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So we've got all billions of these cells. They all have cell walls, and the cell walls are made out of omega-3 fats. So if you don't have enough omega-3 fats in your body, the cell walls of the billions of your cells are going to be weak.
Yeah, Swiss cheese.
Why is that a problem? Well, because the sugar has to get through the cell wall inside the cell where it's used up.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen? All right, so sugar in the blood, body recognizes that, pumps out lots and lots and lots of insulin. Now you got insulin molecules floating through the blood. Somehow, the insulin molecules bind to every single cell in the body that needs the sugar. Well, how does the body know which cells need it and which cell? I don't know. The body figures it out. So there's insulin. It binds to an insulin receptor on the cell wall.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, it sends a signal inside the cell to stimulate the cell to actually make a door on the wall of the cell and open it up so the sugar can get in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a remarkable process. But in order for this signal to populate,
Mm-hmm.
you need chromium. If
Boom.
you don't have chromium, the signal isn't going to go anywhere. It can't go. It's like, you know, ringing the doorbell
Mm-hmm.
on the front door, but somebody cut the wires so the bell doesn't ring. It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So insulin piles up on the cell wall.
Yep.
Because it's a negative feedback reaction. Then you'll get so much insulin piled up there that it actually breaks the wall of the cell, physically damages it. Well, that's not good.
No.
That's why diabetics lose their fingers and their toes and their feet and their legs, because of all this cellular destruction caused not by the sugar, but by the insulin.
And in particular, into the neurologic system.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a problem with insulin, not with sugar,
Mm-hmm.
in that specific regard.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to get the sugar inside the cell where it's needed, you got to have chromium.
Mm-hmm.
Only problem with chromium is body can't make it.
Right.
Chromium's a mineral, like gold.
Mm-hmm.
Plants can't make it. Animals can't make it. The only way that minerals get into the body is if they're in the soil that the food is growing in. But if the food is grown with herbicides, the herbicides prevent the minerals from being sucked up into the plant, and so we're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, and by everybody I mean everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and by everybody I mean everybody,
Right.
who's not supplementing with minerals
Mm-hmm.
is minerally deficient.
That's right.
And at some point in time is going to have a problem with sugar metabolism,
Mm-hmm.
even if they're eating exactly 100% the right type of sugar in the right amount for the body. Doesn't matter,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like the fuel line being clogged, right? The sugar needs to get into the cell. It needs chromium to do that. It needs omega-3s. If the cell wall isn't healthy, even if there is chromium, the door that the cell makes to open the sugar is going to be funky, and it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like trying to build a door on a rotten frame. You can't do it. So it's simple, really. Everything that we do is simple. It's so simple. It's like, I mean, really, Doc, don't I need like some crazy drug?
No.
No, man. Mm-hmm. You just need to give your body the stuff it needs. And all of that stuff is found in what's called the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack, which is basically the Healthy Foundation Pack, which gives you all the nutrients that you need, plus extra nutrients for blood sugar metabolism. So that's what we do. Now look, here's the deal. You know, the next obvious question is, well, how much should I eat? And you eat whatever the hell you want to, is what I tell people, because your body will let you know, number one. And number two, if you're nutrified,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's running, you know, on all 90 cylinders, you can overdo it more than someone who's under-nutrified could, if you want to. So you can have an extra piece of pie, and it's not going to have a negative effect on you. Whereas somebody who is
because you're building the reserve. You're building the reserve.
Your body's stronger.
Right.
It's like going outside in sub-zero weather, but you've got a scarf and a hat and a glove, snowsuit on. You can handle it. So in every way, every day, in every regard, across the board, those who are nutrified have a stronger defense system and are therefore much more able to handle the stress of life, which is everywhere all the time, especially with an idiot president like Biden at the helm. It's unbelievable.
I think you're being kind to him. So the Healthy Foundation Pack, the components of which?
So we've got a multivitamin and multi-mineral and multi-antioxidant and probiotics and prebiotics. It's called Tangy Tangerine. We got the plant-derived minerals, which is the most effective mineral supplement I've ever seen. See?
We celebrate that. We celebrate that.
We celebrate that.
Celebrate that.
We've got the Beyond OsteoFX, which is a liquid calcium, which is the most absorbable calcium on the planet right now, and that's a big deal. Absorbability with calcium is a really big deal. I wrote about a lot of that in my first book, Everybody is Sick and I Know Why. It was a really fun chapter to write, by the way. And the essential fatty acids. So the little fish oil capsules. So this gives you all 90 essential nutrients, to which we add the blood sugar support, which is chromium, vanadium, and some herbs that facilitate the mobilization of the sugar in the bloodstream. So it's kind of like, those race car drivers, like the Fast and the Furious, and they're neck and neck, and then they hit the nitrox button and they inject the nitrous into the fuel and they go 1,000,000 miles an hour. Well, when you take these botanical medicines into your body is more efficient at moving sugar through the body, which is, in this case, relevant, right? So, and also, if and when you cheat on the 12 bad foods during the holidays, because you will, just be mindful of how it makes you feel. Right? So instead of, having one piece of pizza, that's not gluten-free, have 5. And wait 24 hours and see how it makes you feel. If you've been avoiding fried food and all of a sudden, someone brings the fried chicken, don't just have half a piece, have 4 or 5 pieces of it. And wait 24 hours and see how you feel. Now, it might ruin your holidays. But my point is that the more we go down the track with this program, the stronger your body gets. And the more sensitive it becomes to things. So you fall off the bandwagon, your body's going to let you know. And that becomes a much better teacher than Dr. Glidden or Dr. Janda saying, don't eat this. Right? Perfect example. 2 summers ago, I was in Italy for a couple of weeks, which I did not like, by the way. I don't recommend going to Italy, but that's just a me thing. I don't know if that's a thing, but in any event. So I'm in Italy, and, in Italy, you throw a stick and you hit a bottle or 2 or 3 of olive oil. It's everywhere, all of the time. So I said, all right, I'm going to do a little in-house experiment because I'd been avoiding olive oil for 10 years. Any oil in a bottle. I'm going to just have olive oil. Why not? Because it's everywhere all the time. So I started liberally consuming olive oil. And by day 5 or 6, I got this really significant inflammation on my gums. I had this stuff coming off, nasty mucus coming off my gums, inflamed gums. So hard to eat, for goodness sakes. I stopped olive oil. 5 days it went away.
Wow.
So my point in telling you this is that your body will let you know what's good and what's bad for it, but you have to be mindful of it because it's usually a delayed response. It's not like the kid who has the problem with the peanuts and he eats the peanuts and his airways constricted. He needs the EpiPen in 30 minutes or he's going to die. It's not like that. This is, you have the olive oil and then a day later it's a problem. Right? You have the gluten and a day later it's a problem. It's like that. So if you do overdo it on the holidays, just be mindful of how it makes you feel. But if you add the blood sugar support into your program, you're going to have an easier time of it, guaranteed.
And some of our viewers are diabetic.
Yeah.
And they've been universally told by their treating physicians, well, the only way you can handle this is by taking this oral medication, or the only way you can handle your diabetic issue is for taking insulin for life.
Yeah.
So speak to those folks, Pete.
Well, number one, one of the largest selling blood sugar medicines in the world, Metformin.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how it works.
No. Mm-hmm.
The mechanism of action of Metformin is unknown. And it's one of the most widely used blood sugar medicines in the world. And this from the Department of Hypocrisy Department, when the same people who prescribe that stuff say, oh, there's no research that proves that vitamins and minerals work. Well, number one, there is. But number two, you're telling me this and you're using Metformin? You have no idea how it works and you're okay with that? Number two, I'll tell you a real story here. This is kind of an inspiring story. Years ago, I was working with a teenage kid. I think he was 13 at the time when he first started to see me. Insulin-dependent diabetic from like 4 or 5 years old. Mm-hmm. So he had to inject insulin every day in order to live. And his mother brought him in to see me, and I put him on the healthy blood sugar pack. And within 3 weeks, now remember, this was a 13-year-old kid who's mm-hmm. maybe, 120 pounds maybe. Within 3 weeks, he was able to reduce his insulin by 75%.
And he strictly monitored his sugars and said, okay, here's where I am, so I don't need as much as I did, or right? Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because, that's what insulin-dependent diabetics do. They measure their blood sugars all the time, and they adjust their dosage. Mm-hmm. So he was able to adjust his dosage by 75%. Mm-hmm. And in the ensuing years, every time he would have a problem with the insulin management, we traced it down to either something that he was eating or he'd run out of the supplements for a couple of weeks. One of the things that he needed to do in order to maintain optimal blood sugar was he had to be really consistent with his essential fatty acid supplement.
Interesting.
If he missed that for a couple of days, his blood sugar started to get wonky.
Because of the problem with the cell wall.
Yeah. And long story short, this last June, he graduated naturopathic medical school.
Oh, that's fantastic. So Pete, so he went on the Healthy Foundation blood sugar pack. Did his managing doc, his doc that had been managing him for years. So he goes in for his routine check, and he says, well, I'm only taking X amount of insulin, 75% less. What was his doc's reaction?
Well, I don't know anything about that. Just keep doing it.
All right. Well, at least he admitted that.
At least he admitted it.
No, that's a big step, because all too often that's not admitted.
Yeah. You think he would have called me up?
Well, that's a kind of a bridge too far for some folks. For actually most folks. But it's interesting. Admitted he didn't know, because you're not taught this.
Right.
You are not taught this in allopathic medical school or internship or residency or fellowship.
Right. But you are taught not to eat polar bear liver. And, that's something.
Hypervitaminosis A. Right. That was the extent of my nutritional. Right.
This is why we need a free medical market, man.
Yeah.
Because this information, everybody needs to know this.
Yes.
Think about what a different world it would be if they did.
Well, it would be a drastically different world. You would see less power and control by the very people that despise you and I doing these videos. Right? You'd have less power and control by big pharma, by big insurance, by big medicine and by big government.
And for some reason, that's a bad idea.
Well, because, no, here's why, Pete. Because your focus and my focus is on the health and welfare of people. Their focus is on the almighty dollar and is making as much money as they can, getting as much power and control as they can, and not about the health and welfare of the people, of our country, of the world.
What do you think informs that psychology?
What do I think what?
Why do you think, I mean, I could never...
Greed.
Greed. Yeah, but
Greed.
Causes...
The chromosome, the greed chromosome. Yeah. And in some people, it's just it's just a small portion. But in many people, it's the whole enchilada. Right?
Yeah. So, well, I'm glad I'm not counted as one of them.
I'm not
and, you know, my experience with this over the years is if you can move 25% of the people who hear this message into action, you're a freaking genius.
Yep. I agree. Right. So, Pete, I mentioned OperationFreedomHealth.com with the free video, with the 12 bad foods, with the products we discussed today, the Healthy Foundation Pack, the Healthy Blood Sugar Foundation Pack. Educate our listeners about your websites. You have drglidden.com, but you also, as I mentioned, have LeaveBigPharmaBehind.com. Educate our listeners on that and where you can get your books.
So you can get my books at Amazon. It's easy. You can also get the books from my website, but my website just has a link to Amazon to make it easier to find.
Yeah.
So on the website, I have a subscription service with hundreds of hours of instructional videos, the intention of which are to hold your hand and take you step by step to help you remove yourself from the conventional medical model and learn how to empower yourself to make you healthy with the medicine that myself and my colleagues produce. And also the medicine that Dave does, because sometimes you need the surgery. And, you know, we have pre and post surgery protocols that are extremely effective. But more to the point, I have clinically verified therapeutics that you can start to use right now without needing to visit a doctor to start to increase and improve your bone and joint health, to improve your mental health, to improve your energy, to improve your fertility, to improve everything. Because this is what we do. And my strength is providing information which is clinically verified. So this isn't flavor of the month, new research, let's all get on the echinacea train, ladies and gentlemen. Right. This is what actually works in naturopathic clinical settings for people who are really sick. And so it's been a labor of love for mine for a long time. I'm going to continue it as long as I can. So LeaveBigPharmaBehind.com is where you want to go to get informed about how to extricate yourself from the conventional medical mousetrap.
Pete, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. I'd like to thank you folks for joining us. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us today.